Have you ever watched a crypto crash so hard it looked finished, only to see it roar back with a vengeance? Well, that's exactly what might be brewing with Pi Network. After a brutal drop in April, a storm of speculation, investor panic, and massive token unlocks sent Pi's price into freefall. But just when everyone's ready to give up, they could hold the spark that lights the next breakout. The listings, the accumulation, the whispers from major exchanges, something's happening behind the scenes. So, should you be buying, selling, or waiting? Stay with me, because the full picture might change everything you think you know about Picoin. The crypto world never sleeps, and for Pi Network, April was a month that tested its community's patience like never before. While giants like Bitcoin and Solana showed signs of recovery and strength, Picoin took a sharp nosedive, shedding over 16% in just a few weeks. From its February highs, the fall was even more alarming, nearly 80% wiped out. But what caused such a dramatic crash? Was it just market behavior, or is there more going on beneath the surface? Let's go back to the root of the problem. Everything seemed to be building up to the long-awaited mainnet launch earlier this year. Excitement ran high. Pioneers who had mined Pi for years were finally expecting some real utility. But once that switch flipped and the mainnet went live, something unexpected happened: a massive wave of selling pressure. Many early adopters, possibly seeing this as their first real opportunity to cash out, began dumping their tokens. The dream of holding onto Pi for long-term value quickly gave way to fear and urgency. And just like that, the sell-off began. But the sell-off wasn't the only issue dragging Pi down. There's another silent force at play: dilution. With more tokens being released into the market at a rapid pace, supply is expanding far faster than demand can keep up. In April alone, over 188 million Pi tokens entered circulation. That flood of new supply overwhelmed the market, especially in the absence of fresh investor interest. And it doesn't stop there. May is projected to unlock another 235 million Pi tokens, worth well over $140 million. Over the next year, nearly 1.5 billion more tokens could be released, representing an $869 million valuation. That kind of constant unlocking acts like a pressure cooker, and if buyers aren't there to absorb it, prices collapse. But that's not the end of the problem. Pi's trouble in April was magnified by its ongoing struggle to get listed on major exchanges. While it has secured listings on platforms like OKX, MEXC, and BitGet, these haven't been enough to ignite widespread adoption. What everyone's been waiting for, Binance, Coinbase, Upbit, still hasn't happened. And this lack of exposure matters. Without access to millions of users who trade on those platforms daily, Pi is locked out of the real volume and liquidity it needs to grow sustainably. It's not just about visibility, either. The deeper issue lies in Pi Network's tokenomics, a topic that has raised some uncomfortable questions within the community. Right now, the vast majority of Pi tokens are split between the pioneers and the development team. Pioneers collectively hold over 65 billion coins. That's a huge amount of potential sell pressure, especially if market confidence continues to erode. On the other side, the insiders, the core team and the foundation, control much of the rest. 10 billion tokens are held in reserve, 20 billion are allocated directly to the team, and 5% was assigned to liquidity pools also under their control. In total, the centralization of ownership raises concerns about sudden sell-offs, insider manipulation, or worse, a repeat of past crypto disasters like the Mantra token, which nosedived over 90% in a single day due to insider selling. But as grim as April looked, there are signs that make it tell a very different story. Let's start with a glimmer of hope from one exchange that might just tip the scales. HTX, formerly known as Huobi, is showing signs that it could be the next big platform to officially list Pi. This isn't just speculation. HTX was actually the first exchange to support Pi Network's IOU token back in 2021, which remained tradable all the way until February of this year. Since then, HTX has been dropping subtle hints, with multiple social media posts featuring Pi Network, fueling speculation that a listing may be imminent. And if it happens, it could be a major catalyst. A listing on HTX would not only bring volume and attention, it would also restore confidence in the coin's legitimacy. And that confidence could spread especially if Binance or Upbit decides to follow suit. Remember, Binance is the largest exchange in the world. If Pi gets listed there, it becomes instantly accessible to a global market. Upbit, with its strong user base in South Korea, could open up a new regional wave of adoption. Coinbase, which targets US investors, could unlock participation from one of the most heavily regulated, but influential, crypto markets. Just one of these listings could create a domino effect. There's also a technical case to be made. According to the Wyckoff market theory, a framework used by many professional traders, Pi may currently be in what's known as the accumulation phase. This stage is marked by relatively flat and sideways movement in price. It can feel boring and uncertain, but historically, it often precedes something big, the markup phase. This is when prices start rising sharply, driven by increasing interest, positive news, and the fear of missing out. If the Wyckoff pattern plays out, and if listings do happen, Pi could see a major rally. But, and this is important, none of this is guaranteed. Crypto is volatile. It moves fast. Things can change overnight. Pi's future still depends heavily on decisions made by its developers, how the community responds, and whether trust can be restored after a tough month like April. Dilution is still a threat. Tokenomics need to be clarified and possibly restructured. Exchange listings might help, but they won't fix everything. So what should you do as a Pi holder or someone watching from the sidelines? This might be the moment to stay alert, do your research, and watch the market closely. Because if May does turn out to be Pi's turning point, those who understand the deeper story will be in the best position to make informed moves, whether that means getting in, staying in, or walking away. The truth is, every crash holds opportunity, but only for those who know where to look. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more Pi Network updates, analysis, and crypto insights. And let me know in the comments. Do you think Pi coin will bounce back in May, or is this just the beginning of a bigger correction? I'll be reading every comment. See you in the next video.